skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
The importance of co-parenting. Every child has the right to bond with the parents that gave them life. Children are happiest when they can freely communicate and enjoy the time, talents, and lessons that each parent brings to the relationship.
We make co-parenting difficult when we focus on differences rather than what is in the best interest of our children. Parents, your relationship with each other should never affect the relationship you have with your child. Celebrate your children together. They deserve your best. A message brought to you by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TDC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TDC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle the rest. Fast, secure, and even to your door. Visit us today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park or Penny's Industrial Site, or call 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis. TDC Shipping, where reliable service meets unbeatable convenience. TDC, together we succeed.
St. Kitts and Nevis, it's time to celebrate! We're raising our glasses and saying cheers to 20 years as your trusted telecommunications provider. And because we love our amazing customers, we're giving you the chance to win. Every week, we've got exciting prizes just for you. And that's not all. Step into a cash vault for a shot at $2,000 in cash. To qualify, switch to Digicel, activate a 3-day plan or higher, pay your bill in full, sign up for postpaid or a new Digicel Plus internet package. Stay connected, keep enjoying the best service, and get ready to win. 20 years strong, and we're just getting started. Visit a Digicel retail store today.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Good morning to the regional and international diaspora. Good morning, how are you doing this morning? Just about 8 minutes after the hour of 8 as we begin today's edition of Island Tea. Just to remind those of you listening to us via radio, it's 98.9 FM. Just to remind you, we're being simulcast on TVC Channel 40, Facebook, as well as YouTube. Just to remind you of our numbers in the UK, 0333 440065 or 1718-285-6984 or 1305-921-4619 or 466-0989. Good morning, Quint, and welcome back.
Good day, and it's good to be back.
Yeah. So, fans, you heard the voice, so you know he's back in the house. So, what's on the table this morning? I was asking, I don't know how much you would have seen of it, but I asked Flames yesterday. I think he remembers seeing it. You saw what happened with the French Prime Minister and his wife?
I saw it on something you sent me, but I wasn't able to understand it.
Oh, okay.
What really happened?
Well, it seems like she shoved him in the face, but then he played it down and said it wasn't that.
She shoved him?
Yeah, whilst the door was open. I think they were in. I even saw this blogger yesterday, why I brought it up again today. This blogger, Candace Owens, I don't know if you know of her.
The name is familiar.
Yeah, she was talking about... and she was saying people said not her. She's not the people. So it's just still making rounds because as they open the door, you can see his wife just shoving him in the face, and then he goes back out of view. The camera caught everything because they were ready. The cameras caught everything, and then he came out first, and I guess she had to compose herself. She came out afterwards. He had his hand, for her to hold on because she's 25 years a senior. She's 72. He's 47. So she didn't hold on to his hand at all. She just held on to the railings, and she made her way down the stairs by herself. So people are insinuating that. And another thing that someone commented on the Candace Owens post and said, or maybe Candace Owens herself said it, I have to look back at the post, that his anger management is really going well, that he didn't retaliate. But he said it was a playful shove, but the media and everybody's saying that's not playful. I don't know, I wasn't there.
From what you described, I don't think it was a playful thing, but people in relationships, people go through spats, so maybe it was one of those spats that unfortunately we saw a bit of, and then him, when you're an older man like that and you have a young, feisty spouse, you usually try to play it cool because.
But he's younger and she's older.
She's the older one.
Yeah, she's 25 years his senior. She
wow,
doesn't.
I thought you said that he was older.
No, when she noticed him in school, he was 15. She was 39. Wow. When he was born in 1977, she was already 3 years into her first marriage. That's her second marriage because she married Macron 1 year after she divorced her husband. She already had 3 kids that was similar to his age and older.
Okay, so that's a different picture entirely. It then means that she's the dominant factor in the relationship. Yeah. It means she knows why she chose him, and he has been playing along.
Because his parents even sent him away to boarding school when they found out that it wasn't one of her daughters that he was interested in, and it was the mom,
Yeah.
But it didn't stop the love.
Yeah,
so
she's the dominant. Well, those French people, they're very, very weird.
Oh boy. Don't let Bridget get us enough. Let her not get us good. Yeah, so I don't know. I just wish them the best. As you said, we all have our issues, but it's sad that it's unfortunate. Let me not say it's sad because we don't know if they were playing for real. It's unfortunate that it was caught, and people are putting their various spins on it as to what it really is.
I don't think they were playing because there's something that you call psychological reading, and if you see the door just as it opened and you see that, and then what reinforced it was when he was trying to hold her hand when she's going down and she doesn't take it. That kind of, if you were kind of like in doubt, that cemented it.
Yeah. So she didn't even try to cover it up. I guess she was like, I don't really care. We have a caller?
Yeah.
Caller, good morning. You're live on LNT.
Good morning, guys.
Good
morning.
With all the things going on in the world, looking at the lower spat, I guess there got to be some kind of distraction.
Yeah, and it's kind of refreshing compared to the rest, Even though they're having their spousal, it's compared to the rest of what's happening in the world. That is refreshing.
Yeah, the light moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
But although I wonder in this case if much is being made of it because it exhibits what we see a lot of these days, the kind of fakeness of politicians.
Yeah.
Right. Where they try to project a particular image or a particular narrative.
Oh, outside.
Yeah, to outsiders. Okay, it's almost like fooling the people kind of thing.
Yeah.
That people really resent, and so they're gonna take a turn in any politician that this may happen to. I think.
And that is why I said I brought it back home to the fact that we are human. And we go through spats. So what they saw was what happens, It happens.
Right. Yeah.
That's the sad part.
Yeah.
That's the sad part.
But that's the whole point. They don't project themselves as such. They project themselves as all-knowing,
Yeah.
you know, all of that.
Yeah.
And when in fact they do have similar problems and so on, like ordinary people.
And
So
you know,
that-
if they would allow us to see their real sides, people will be more
Right.
understanding when they make mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. You know, if they project an image of more like us,
Yeah.
if instead of the usual "I feel your pain" kind of thing, when they know definitely that, become straight out and be empathetic.
Good morning, guys.
Yeah.
Morning.
Now, the story that y'all talking about, right? It just make you wonder what goes on behind closed door. Because if she could do that in public,
But she didn't expect. I don't think she expected. But she did it in public on the plane. But she didn't expect the door to
the
open.
plane door open. You could see he was surprised, like, oh boy, the reporter catch that.
Yeah.
He was shocked, like, but you could see she didn't care. She didn't care whether they feed or not.
I think it raises
But
that whole
Quinn-
question of
Mr. McMahon, could you sound very, very soft all of a sudden?
Quinn, good morning, good morning.
Yeah, good day.
I was ready with my placard dinner yesterday when I did not see you.
Well, good to
I was
hear.
about to bring down Win FM.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Thanks for the support.
It's good to see you this morning.
Okay.
I'll call back, guys.
Yes. Mr. McMahon, sorry about that.
it raises a larger question of in our society of why is it okay for the husband to be 29 years older than the wife,
Yes.
but vice versa is frowned on.
Yeah, that's a good perspective because it kind of surprised me, but you're right. We've seen that is why when she spoke first, I thought it was the other way around because that is the way it usually is.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, customarily, I think, generally speaking, you know, the prevailing opinion is that, well, the husband should be, you know, older than the wife.
Yeah.
But that differential is unusual, to say the least.
Yeah, you're
You
right.
know, but you know, I guess it would be 9 days gossip, and then
Yeah.
it's back to normal. Because I mean, remember the other high-profile thing, speculation, was Obama and his wife.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
and that seemed to have subsided or
Yeah.
disappeared.
Fizzled out.
Yeah. But once you put yourself out for to being a politician or somebody in the public eye, you got to expect this kind of scrutiny.
Yeah, most
You know,
definitely.
it goes with the territory.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Okay then.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you for your contribution. Sorry, I had to run out to take a call.
Yeah, I was thinking, just imagine me, a young boy in Macron's position, and there's this older woman who is infatuated with me. It kind of catches you off guard, you know, and you're gonna be, because I'm trying to go back in my head when I was younger, and you're gonna be in awe that this older woman is actually, it's gonna
The
be like,
aggressor?
huh?
The aggressor?
No, not so much the aggressor, but that she's interested in you. Like, wow, you know, because that's every young boy's dream that this
At
older
15,
woman.
she's twice your age plus 9.
Maybe not that old.
That's
but
since that's how
listen,
long they've been. That's why his parents send him away to
you're
boarding
not
school.
here's my point.
Uh-huh.
The point I'm trying to make is that here's a younger man. I'm not putting so much emphasis on the age difference.
Okay.
I'm putting the emphasis on here's a younger man and there's this older woman who is interested in him. That is almost every young boy's dream.
Okay.
Yeah, young boys, they're into older women.
Okay.
You understand? But older women tend to look at us and say, fire your little boy self, So I think when they actually got hooked up, he has been in awe ever since, and she has been the dominant factor. That is just my assumption.
Yeah, okay, she is older.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at another article here.
You know what I saw? I think you sent me a picture, but I didn't understand it. Four pictures of a car. I think
Yes, the one on the fence.
Yeah, but my son now, one of my son, my middle son, when we were going to the funeral yesterday, he asked me if I heard about or saw the accident. So I said no. I said my coworker sort of sent me some pictures, but I didn't understand it. But he actually showed me live, seeing the car coming up from behind, hitting the other one, spinning, and I said, wow. I mean, we're moving up there in technology to see that we can, actually see that, and that was just wow.
Yeah.
That's what you see in the movies. You know what I'm saying?
That's the whole point, and I'm happy that it landed where it did and it didn't go any further. You notice the people have their gas bottles right there. That's their kitchen.
Yeah.
If that had hit that's an explosion. That's people's lives. That's
Yeah.
their house. I said the Lord was real, and that fence is a David boy. That fence strong.
Huh.
That fence held up.
Wow.
Yeah, but
another thing that crossed my mind is that no matter how you say and the sports guys say and the traffic guys say,
they're not listening.
They're not listening.
And that's a 20-mile zone. That's a residential area.
Yeah.
Where was that person going? And you're trying to pass two vehicles. You don't know what the one in front is about to do. And that's what he did. The one in front is about to turn, and he's speeding, thinking it's still going straight. And that's it. I refuse to believe that's a she. We're more cautious. A she would not be doing that.
I'm not going to make any comment along that vein. Hello, caller.
Caller, good morning. You're live on
Good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
How are you
Greetings
doing?
once more. Yes, greetings once more in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from the sins and from hell. Now, first of all, I would like to say that you all sound significantly louder on YouTube today, which is good.
Thank you.
Secondly, yesterday I called in and they said that the fire truck should come.
Did they come?
And flush out. No, they didn't come. They didn't come. But then they really need to come to flush out the drain by the water dam here in Middle Island, because mosquitoes are growing in it. I mean, mosquitoes are breeding in it. But what I also should have said, well, what happened that, yes, people garbage and so plays a role in clogging it up. But what mostly clog it up to me, as it looked to me like, is the dust. And maybe sand in between that washes down in the side drain to go into the main drain. So the sand and the dust, to me more than anything else, is what clogging it up. And what I realized is that when the dust is shoveled out, it is either piled up near the reservoir or the dust is thrown in somebody's yard. What also needs to be done when they come to flush it out, they need to send some kind of vehicle, truck or whatever, to throw the dust in when they shovel out the dust from out the drain and go and empty it or dump it in a proper area. Not what they're doing right now in the past as they have been doing in emptying the dust. Either by the water dam, where it piles up, or lately, what I've seen, thrown in people's yard. As a matter of fact, that it's thrown in a family of mine yard, really and truly. But the person ain't living here in St. Kitts. So that is not good. So yes, that's it. That's one thing. Another thing, Monday, on Voices, Socrates told me that the Prime Minister went to Nigeria for economic aid. Well, I hope that economic aid would be like to bring in business and make business contacts and that sort of stuff, if that is what is meant by economic aid. Because if what is meant by economic aid, going to see if you could get loans, grants, economic advice, then that would be very bad. Because Nigeria is doing far worse, is doing at least significantly worse than us economically. The Nigerian economy is significantly worse than the St. Kitts Nevis economy. And I don't know what economic advice or loans that they can give us when we are doing significantly better than them economically. So I hope that the economic aid that he went to look for was simply business contacts. I would like to ask a question because I've seen a video this morning. Do you all know anything of the issue with Usain Bolt and the some SSL investment and people, Jamaicans are saying Usain Bolt was scammed out of 12 point something $million, and Usain Bolt say he want back his money and them sort of stuff. Do you all know anything about that story?
I heard about that some time ago.
But that wasn't some investor that had some one of his management persons that had taken his money. That's
no. It seems as if though there's some kind of a. I'm kind of vague on it, but it seems as if though he lodged his money into a banking system, and then miraculously it disappeared. And not only him, some other individuals. And as far as I knew, I heard way back then was that the government was supposed to be looking into it, but then it died down, and I didn't hear anything much about it after. But not him alone, some other individuals. And when I heard it, and I was like kind of surprised that if it is true that the government itself need to step in cases like this, because you cannot have citizens investing or putting their money in a system, and then that system, it just disappeared. And from what I understand, it's not just him. There are other individuals who put large sum, maybe not near as close as his, but yeah, Greg.
Yeah, because this video that I was watching was posted 12 days ago on YouTube. And man, the only calling you saying, but because I guess maybe the amount he put into it and his national iconic thing, 12 million, 12 point something million. And man used to hear on the video how the Jamaican abusing the government.
Yeah, it was a big thing. It was, and I'm surprised that it makes what a lot of people were wondering if the system itself is a part of the scam, because nothing, no real thing seemed to come out of it, and you can't have that. You cannot have that.
That is true. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay, let's take a bit of a commercial break while Hortensia tries to do her research.
Found the South 98.9.
Get ready for the biggest Father's Day weekend sale ever. From June 12th to 14th, Hostel's Furniture and Appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers, and Builders Paradise are bringing you incredible savings and a special men's health and wellness fair. Take 25% off at Hostel's Furniture and Appliances, plus double cash back for free groceries with every higher purchase. It's the perfect time to upgrade your home and fill your pantry. And that's not all. Get 25% off store-wide at Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers and Builders Paradise on all discountable items. On Saturday, June 14th, don't miss our men's health and wellness fair at Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Get free diabetes, HIV, blood pressure checks, plus customer giveaways and so much more. Celebrate that this Father's Day weekend only at Hostel's Furniture and Appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers, and Builders Paradise. Terms and conditions apply.
Get ready to stretch your way into the ultimate festival experience. The St. Kitts Music Festival is calling, and so are some serious prizes. Spend $25 or more on any scratch tickets to win a season pass and a night stay at Park Hyatt, a season pass and a night stay at St. Kitts Marriott Resort, and a season pass and a white sands ticket. That's right, spend $25 or more on any scratch tickets to win. Available at all Caribbean lottery retailers island-wide. You must be 21 and over to play. This Father's Day weekend at Builders Paradise, we've got big deals for dad and low prices for all. Yes, we've got a massive 25% off store-wide on all discountable items. Yes, 25% off Builders Paradise, already low everyday prices. From power tools to paint, lumber to lighting and more. It's all at Builders Paradise, and it's all on sale. Show dad some love for the gear he wants at everyday low prices you love. But don't wait. The sale runs for 3 days only. Thursday, June 12th, Friday, June 13th, and Saturday, June 14th. Father's Day weekend only at Builders Paradise, where big deals for dad and everyday low prices for all come together. Happy Father's Day from Builders Paradise.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea, and as to what Greg mentioned, apparently this is a situation that happened a while back now.
Yeah.
Our most recent update was in February, when there is no silver lining as yet. As I said, that was part of his retirement plan.
Yeah.
And it says, it says since 2023, Jamaica's Financial Services Commission, the FSC, has been taking a key interest in the issue. The authority even took the reins of the kingpin of the fraud, Stock and Securities Limited, as SSL, the Kingston-based investment firm. It says by standing in February 2025, the former Olympian has yet to get his money back. In a shared clip, he shed light on that part, saying, "This happens to me, I'm going to have 2 years and we can't see a dime back." Yes, arguably the greatest track and field athlete is a human after all. He also feels the pain in the same way as others. But the pertinent question is there any chance to come to a solution? Usain Bolt is not financially broken. The fund he lost was part of his retirement plan. Losing it worked as a damper for him. But it doesn't mean that he would settle himself in a corner, digesting the fraud that landed almost 200 individuals in far worse conditions. At first, he had faith in the authorities. Right now, it might be compromised. That's why he wants to share his takes on everything publicly. However, what is FSC's submission on the matter?
He should never let this lie.
No,
he should.
It's a lot of money.
And because of his status and his clout, his name bringing this out to the fore is very, very important. Because if they could do this to him, you could imagine. I remember I heard some news of a particular man who had invested X amount in the same system, and when it disappeared, it really knocked the life out of him. And he was trying to get back his money, and I think he reached so far as to go to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and there was this, query. So when I hear the article make the statement that the question is whether something, that is absolutely ridiculous. That is what the media is there for. The media is not supposed to ease on this, because this is a scam of citizens' money and large sums of money. The man I'm speaking about was over maybe $200 and something $1,000. Now, a poor man doesn't get that money easily, you understand? So, so I'm glad that this is coming back up, and the media, especially in Jamaica, should start to push this and put pressure on the system, because you cannot have a system that takes people's money and then it just disappears. And it's a lot of people.
200.
A lot of people.
Yeah, but
when I heard it, I said to myself, wow, this is a complete setup scam, and it has been successful so far.
That's why, they say make your money grow, invest your money, but sometimes I be like, nah, let me
Yeah,
hold
you
my
got to
money.
be careful. Yeah, seriously.
Because
That's why they say
that's a
it's a
big
risk.
risk. Yeah.
A lot of people, you see, say one, say two. They tell you take a risk, but they don't tell you the amount of individuals who take risks and lose.
Didn't had no returns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do like my granny, keep it under the bed. But they said the person in last September, Kieran Burrell, executive director of FSS, shared a few things on the matter. In his interaction with Caribbean Live, Burrell displayed nothing but hope. He in fact said the FSC remains resolute in its mission to facilitate the fair treatment of SSL investors. The vigilant oversight is crucial to ensuring that SSL meets its obligation to clients in a timely and transparent manner. In alignment with the legal and regulatory framework established by the Security Acts, the Commission assures all stakeholders that it is dedicated to maintaining transparency and accountability, two words that is thrown around all the time, through this process, and will provide further updates as necessary. Guessing how Usain Bolt accepted those words is not difficult. Now the eyes will be on the coming days in his further comments.
Look, the FS whatever, they should be ashamed of themselves. You have and this is why people don't trust the system. Here you have a body that is supposed to overlook. It's like what happened down here with when a bank just took out people's money long after things had happened, and then people were querying about the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and that they're supposed to be the overseers, and then belatedly this East Caribbean Central Bank comes out and make a statement. And no, you're supposed to be on this. That is what you're there for. That is why you get big sums of money. Hello, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning, Quint. Good morning, Hortensia.
Good morning.
Good day.
So the FSC, the acronym FSC, is the regulatory body that oversees everything.
Yes.
Have they identified the culprit or the kingpin, the culprit?
Well, they're dealing because the investment is with SSL. They're saying they're ensuring that SSL meets its obligation to clients in a timely and transparent manners.
But you know how long ago that was? That's some good
So
time.
the money, if the money was traceable, and they have not done it as yet. No doubt the money is being depleted.
No, but in a case like that, money, it cannot be depleted. If you are a system and the system scams the money, you check and you're going to see that people involved in that system are rich and they have that money tucked somewhere and they are going on extra holidays and so forth. You're going to get back that money. Plus, there are insurance companies that insure against things like these, so there are ways for you to get back your money. Whatever the whatever.
Financial Services Commission.
I prefer to call them the F whatever.
Oh my
right?
God.
Because they are of no consequence. They should be ashamed of them. I'm beginning to wonder if they are part of the scam.
Oh, ooh la la.
Yeah. You have a job to do it. You cannot have.
That brings me to the other point that Greg raised about our is making it traveling back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
That is what I got from Greg.
He was querying what our leader went to Nigeria for, because he says that Nigeria is in a worse financial situation than we are, so he cannot understand. It can't be that they're going for grant or advice. That is the gist of what he was saying.
But Nigeria happens to be the head office of the African-Mexican Bank. However, that bank.
Afromex.
I want to think that was the sole purpose of the Prime Minister traveling there, because they are, I think in Barbados, they are trying to establish an office.
Yeah, base.
So that how yes, potential, you're following that. And also, Diana was being mentioned a couple years ago, I think it's 2022. Diana was being mentioned with the interlink, that badly so needed interlink with the Africa and its diaspora and what Africa has to offer. We are aware that poverty and that sort exists all over the world, but Nigeria has so much to offer. But
let me ask.
Specifically towards going to the Abuja and having a sit down with the relevant authorities of the African Investment Bank, because I think we have beneficiaries and we have probably benefited from the money that the loans and whatsoever. It is an alternative bank to move away from IMF and the World Bank at the exorbitant rate. Do you know, we, the Africans and the diaspora, borrowed money from the World Bank and from like 10 to 1, 12 to 1, as opposed to the quote-unquote first world countries?
We know that. You're well aware, and we know that you're aware of what happens in Africa, hence the name. But here, let me ask you this question. If Nigeria is in a, what kind of, in your opinion, because I think you're more au fait with this than I am, what, in your opinion, how do you see Nigeria when it comes to financial stability?
Nigeria have some best practices because Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa. So the Nigerian economy is. But in spite of that, you know the word corruption and how the word corruption is played from the West perspective on those countries. But I would say corruption is a two-way street. Right? But nonetheless, I think the Prime Minister's travels went specifically to deal with, not restricted to that, but to deal with the African Investment Bank. And then they would have seen things that they could have probably benefited from in the way the Nigerian economy works, except with the exemption of the corruption. But Nigeria is a vast space.
But
and the way they operate.
But Africa, I'm trying to grasp the answer that you gave me. I wanted you to tell me that apart from the corruption aspect, because I don't want to hear, that Nigeria is about corruption and we just casually say, well, corruption is a part of, various systems. What I wanted you to say to me is that because I know you're well researched, I wanted you to say to me from your research that you are confident that Nigeria is in a good financial position. Not that they have a bank that isn't really enough for me. Can you offer from your perspective and your knowledge how you feel Nigeria is financially? Let's put aside what the West is saying. I'm saying what you have garnered from your research.
No, Nigeria economy need a total revamp and overhaul. Similar to the revolutions that are taking place in the West Africa.
Yes.
Nigeria needs an impetus like that, an injection. They need something to really get their economy to benefit the people.
Yes.
As opposed to the money is taking flight.
Yes,
Nigeria is more advanced than what Nigeria is today.
Yes, that is the honest answer that I was looking for from you. Now,
I don't just answer like that. I know you would know me.
Yes.
I'm a prestigious person. I want to broaden the horizon of my listeners to really get a better grasp. And so it's a flat-out answer. It's not going to suffice what I want to get the tangible get what I want to convey to the listening public.
Yeah.
of a broader conversation. That's me.
Okay, we have another caller. Hello, caller.
Good morning. Good morning, Cortencia.
Good morning.
And good morning to all the listeners. My blessings are upon you. Now, first of all, there is a situation here that we, the patronizer, engaging with banks or any kind of organization, especially when it comes around finances. There is a saying, it takes money to make money. I believe that. But one itself have to be disciplined also to depend on the money that you invest. Whether you put it in a CD account, whether you put it in a, up here there are so many funds, Putnam Conservative Fund. I invested in the stock market. But I never liked it because it was actually a bull market. It goes up and down, and I never liked it, and I busted that fund. I lost some money, and I will never go back into it again. But remember, it takes money to make money. You see what Potentia said? I agree with her. The only safety why people should put their money in banks and this saying about building credit is for safety. You may have money in your house under your bed, and the house may burn down for some reason. You cannot get access to it in short order. So that's why I put money in the bank. I don't depend on the bank money, but I will hope what I put in I can get back out. And one got to be disciplined to depend on what they have, and do not like what doesn't belong to you. Because this borrowing thing, I know banks may not like it, but my advice to people, not to collapse banks. Who want to put their money in bank, put their money in bank. But one got to bear in mind discipline. Since I came to the United States, all I have is a checking account here. And what I put in, I hope the bank would not fail.
Yeah, but caller,
yes.
That point, that last point that you made about a checking account, that goes with another word that you use, discipline. For one to have a checking account and not have discipline, that's the worst thing you can do, because that is why these people want you to get these checking account, because you don't have the cash, you can just sign off, and swipe and whatever. So discipline, as you said, and I must say, this is one of the few times I've actually gotten some positive from you as someone who wants, and this is, we want more of this from you, because you're projecting yourself to be a leader in the country in the future, and we want this kind. I don't want this beat around the bush. I want you to give us a sense of who you are and what you intend to do that would make people want to give you a chance, not just say give me a chance for the sake of giving me a chance, So I must commend you. And if you only have a checking account, it means that then you have discipline, which is good.
Yes. Thank you for that. I'm telling you, you resonate to me, because I know I don't need any favors. I need you to hit me when I should be hit. And I love that. But moving forward, the thing is, we are so caught up into what we want and what we need. And wanty is a failure. Needy is worthy. And having all those in the mix. And I stand for correction and suggestion. Like, I have not shown anything that you told me. Reprimand me. It is good. But I am new to the business in terms of trying myself in. But I'm going to give you one prospect in general, and I'm going to leave the line. I came to the United States because I did everything on my own, and I was chosen for a reason. I didn't come to America just to sit down or throw a stone behind my back. I had my country in mind, because I left my country in bad situation, but it's even worse. And I prayed one day God will lift me up to bring me back with the necessity, the wisdom to come back to my people. And I know it's not hard, because I will have stones thrown at me for no reason. But all I can say, God is great. And I cannot do this alone. If I fall down, pull me up. I'll be willing to get back up. but I will not steal or being a kleptocrat. I care for the human needs, and I bawl, I cry, I am sacrificing to jump into this arena because I don't like how my country is going. America doesn't belong to me. Europe doesn't belong to me. St. Kitts and Nevis belongs to me. And I shall, with the help of people, and wherever I'm falling down, please help me pull me up. Please. Yes.
Caller,
Yes,
there's some kind of a background noise, and it's kind of
okay.
affecting.
I know why. I have my fan on. Let me shut it off completely.
Wow, that's
It is
one
blowing
noisy
me.
fan.
No, it's not noisy, you know.
Sounds
It's
like you're
just the wave of the wind.
Oh, the wave, yeah, the air, yeah,
The
the air.
wave.
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
directly with it.
We
I
have
don't
another.
like to be
We,
on.
we have another caller. Hello, caller.
Yes.
Yes. With regards what we call scams.
Yes.
The thing is, they only become scams when people lose their money. Before that, they're considered good investment.
Yeah.
The problem is that most people do not have the, whether it's the time or the acumen to actually delve into what they're investing in. Okay? And so you hear of companies coming up, and it's an investment opportunity and all of that. And so you take a chance on them, right? The fact is, just like we have this saying of always encouraging people to go into entrepreneurship, open a business, and that kind of thing, the vast majority of those fail, okay? For whatever reason. But the vast majority of those fail. But the ones that do make it, well, they do well. And what I'm saying is that there should be, as in this case, I thought there was the Financial Services Regulatory Unit that would at least protect people's money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know that same company, the SSL, which is the Stocks and Securities Limited, is regulated by the Financial Services Commission.
Then I would think that the Financial Services Commission should be sued for regulation.
That is why I use the reference of down here what happened and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. Look, Mr. McMahon, let's start counting. I'm not going to count to 100, but let's start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You understand? You know how long it's going to take for you to get to 100? And you have over 100 people scammed by this thing, and you are supposed to be overseeing, and after all this time, you're still saying giving vague statements?
Right, and that's the whole point. Nobody seems to be held accountable, right? That's the unfortunate thing about it. As you pointed out, because you pointed out, they have these people, they are making big money to provide oversight, and it's not being done.
Yeah.
One of the I would call it a scandal, was this Clico Bico matter.
Yeah, I referred to
For
that.
instance,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people have been basically derided because people say that, well, if you invest in something that gives you an interest rate that seems too good to be true, you're at fault, right? And so a lot of people who invested in these things were made to feel that they did something wrong, right? When in fact, people should have been providing more oversight of these, and they were not held accountable.
Yeah.
And that includes people like the current Prime Minister of Trinidad, who came in and met a solution to the problem and just decided that she's not going through with it. Okay? And then all the other governments just sit down there and you know what, and let that happen without trying to do something about the situation.
That
Okay.
that point that you made, where someone will say, if it's too good to be true. But look, we all are aware that in that the world of competition, that to get you, people come up. For instance, down here you had banks saying, finish with that bank and come here, and we're going to give you better offers. You understand? And
Right.
before, we never used to have banks doing that, but it shows you how stiff the competition is now, where people are resorting to different means to garner customers. So you, as an individual looking for options, you're not you might say to yourself, well, this sounds kind of, but it's from a legitimate system, so I'm going to take a chance. And because it's a legitimate system, you're supposed to be protected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But remember too, right? I'm not sure if it. I know it exists in the state, but I'm not sure it exists down here where the government actually guarantees a certain level of your savings. So even if a bank fails, you're not going to lose your money. You're saving, right? I'm not sure if it's here. It may be here at the institutional level, because you remember, interestingly, you remember how National Bank essentially had to write off. I think the central bank was trying to save a bank in Antigua.
Yes, I remember that.
Right. And the National Bank apparently got involved with the prompting, I guess, of the central bank. And next thing, we lose our money.
Yeah.
The National Bank lose our money.
Yeah.
Lose the money. And there's nothing for that. So it's strange that you would have that kind of intervention at the bank, the corporate level, and you don't protect the individual investor.
Yeah.
It's just a shame. But there's one other thing that Greg mentioned about the drain. Why I don't understand, why does it take people, ordinary people, to be telling the relevant department what to do, how to do their work. So something is wrong there in their procedures. I'm not sure if it's the health department or the public works. I doubt it's the fire. I think the fire services department coming afterwards.
I think if I'm not mistaken, it should be the health department.
Okay. Because they're the ones in charge of drains, but it might be an infrastructure thing where some culvert is blocked up and so on.
And then public works would be looked upon to assist in that.
But it should be clear which department is involved, because they can each, the usual.
Yeah, put blame on the other.
Point fingers at each other, right? Yeah. Okay. And we should also expect.
Mr. McMahon, Mr. McMahon, let the other caller interject for a moment. Hello, caller.
Point of information. Yes, thank you. When I speak from 99% experience. And you remember banking centers used to be Scotia Bank?
Yes.
That's where my first account was opened. Not to really get it, but I'm talking from the experience. When I left St. Kitts, I left money into that bank. And time to time, I hear Scotia Bank. I don't know if they were sold or they gone out of business. But all people like me who left money in Scotia Bank, right? If they're gone out of business, the government should have a system established where there is something called unclaimed funds. Because after a certain time, your money gone dormant, your account gone dormant, no activity. But it doesn't mean that the money should be depleted or taken away for whatever reason. Remember, we put our money there. So they use our money as their investment to make more money. Okay? whether it's a checking account that don't bear any
So
interest.
caller, you're saying that as someone who had an account with this particular bank, you never got a communique to say, well, we're thinking of selling or closing, or you never got anything to that effect.
I don't know if that a letter was sent in any shape or form, but the bottom line I'm saying, here in the United States, and I'm taking models, if someone dead or you overpay a debt, a bill, as long as you overpay that overpayment should be given to the Treasury, and that will be called unclaimed funds, and there will be a published list that you could go on the internet, or sometimes they come out a certain time with an ad, a newspaper. So these are people who have money, and they call it unclaimed funds.
Yeah.
And there's a proper way to make that claim. I was helping people claim in funds that they don't even remember. Okay? And the government incentives don't have that. So where is that money? Where is the money from other banks? People who dead, okay? I know there are legalities when there are more than one people making a claim for a deceased estate in such a case. But the money should be there.
You're right.
There's
I
no
agree.
money.
But I think they do have something like that, though.
And you have something like that?
Yeah, I've seen from time to time. Where, for instance, the government, the Treasury Department, for instance, publishes a list of outstanding checks that they have for people.
Yeah.
And I've seen where banks have published names or number or account numbers and/or account numbers of people with dormant accounts, because I would imagine it's pretty much the same again as in the states where you are, where if an account is dormant, it is in a bank, it essentially goes to some federal entity that you can actually access to see if you have an outstanding account there.
Yeah.
You don't just take your money and go with it. It goes into the government account.
So maybe caller, you need to do some back research and do some investigation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and find
Maybe there might be a check in the
Absolutely,
Treasury.
Yeah, right.
Because those are knowledge that people should be aware of, but sometimes we go on about our business and we don't think about it because we forget completely.
Okay.
And I am just awakening people in the Federation to live, to sustain integrity in public life and to yourself. These are things that should be known as education to all people in whatever country. And sometimes we are being given negative information, okay? Negative information, and it's just like there is no other way. But any bank, any entity, any organization should have a body when they are collecting people's money, and representation should be anything go wrong, rather than to leave the individual on their own.
Yeah.
And
okay,
caller,
caller, here's what I want you to do. I want you to wrap up your point, and then I want Mr. McMahon to wrap up his point, because we're due for a commercial break.
Okay. Well, I will just say, when someone enters into public life, they must be able to take blows and do not condone to negativity. And I will leave it as that. I will yield for everyone to get their closing. That's my closing for now. Thank you. What a friend.
Mr. McMahon? Mr. McMahon? Seem as if though I had inadvertently dropped Mr. McMahon. That sometimes happens. Sometimes I forget which light I pressed last. So, Mr. McMahon, my apologies. It seems as if though I dropped you instead of dropping him. So if you want to call back and finish your point after this commercial break, feel free to do so.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Campari, pineapple, easy fi we. Brother, he no hard it. Easy fi we. Campari, he no cup. Easy fi we. Brother, he no hard it. Easy fi we had the Campari with your pineapple juice. That easy, bitter had the pre. Simple mix, a easy 1 3 Campari pineapple. Easy fi we. Fi mix a Campari pineapple. Add 1 pot Campari to 3 pots pineapple juice. Drink at the bar, on the beach, or when your girl reach. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
This Father's Day weekend at Builders Paradise, we've got big deals for dad and low prices for all. Yes, we've got a massive 25% off store-wide on all discountable items. Yes, 25% off Builders Paradise, already low everyday prices. From power tools to paint, lumber to lighting and more. It's all at Builders Paradise. And it's all on sale. Show dad some love for the gear he wants at everyday low prices you love. But don't wait. The sale runs for 3 days only. Thursday, June 12th, Friday, June 13th, and Saturday, June 14th. Father's Day weekend only at Builders Paradise, where big deals for dad and everyday low prices for all come together. Happy Father's Day from Builders Paradise.
Imagine life as a cricket match. You're playing well, enjoying the game, when suddenly an unexpected delivery comes your way. A critical illness can be that surprise bouncer. Fast, unpredictable, and challenging. Having critical illness insurance can be your game changer, providing financial support when you need it most. Don't wait for the unexpected. Get the right coverage with a critical illness insurance solution from Sagicor. For more information, visit sagicor.com today. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea, and as we continue along, I saw someone made a comment and they said invest in real estate, but in order to invest in real estate, you have to have monies. But I guess they're saying if you invest in real estate, you won't lose, but you may lose because sometimes you buy things and they're not up to par.
It's easy for people. Look, it's always easy for people to make statements and say invest in real estate as if though, you know, well, people have invested in real estate and lost. You can invest in anything and lose, right? It all depends on the viability, the value of what you're investing in. It depends again on the people who you're buying from and their credibility, because, for instance, you can get into real estate with a particular individual who puts forward XYZ, and then when you do your, for instance, let me show you an example. There have been, right here in St. Kitts and Nevis, there have been individuals who have sold properties, the same property, to 5 different people.
I've heard stories.
Yeah.
I've definitely heard stories.
You know, so you got to be careful. Hello, caller.
Hey, good morning again, guys. Now, speaking of Scotiabank, I opened a U.S. account with them with 1,000 US on. And one year I went home to say, let me check on the account. You know, up to this, the Scotiabank couldn't even find the account. I don't know where my 1,000 US went. They couldn't even find the account. Before they closed, I just happened to be home for a funeral, and I said, let me go in the bank. They couldn't find my account, so my $1,000 just gone.
Yeah, wow.
It just disappeared. They couldn't even tell me, well, this is my account number or anything. They could not even find the account. So you have to wonder what's that about.
Yeah. Well,
but you were talking about you were talking to Africa about Nigeria. Did you see the story where they said the Nigerian president tried to set up what's his name? Because that young man, Kino Faso, that's his name.
No, the guy, he's from Burkina Faso. You mean Abraham Traore?
Yes. Yeah, Abraham, yeah. You see the story where they say he tried to invite him and tried to set him up for them to assassinate him?
Oh boy, no.
Well, I don't take everything like Mr. McMahon made a statement some time ago, and I concur with it. Because of what Abraham Choe has done, everybody is bandying his name, and a lot of what is being thrown around, some of it isn't true. I'm not saying that statement is not true, but I put a question mark. I'm very, very keen on what I read when it relates to Abraham Choe.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, if that's true, that is sad.
Yeah.
But then, anyway, guys, I continue to listen.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at something that I pull up because, once something's mentioned, I go hunting. I pull up what is the economic status of Nigeria's economy.
Yeah.
And it says it is a middle-income mixed economy with significant dependence on oil. While it's the largest economy in Africa, it faces challenges including high inflation, dependence on oil revenue, and persistent poverty. The economy experienced a post-COVID rebound with growth rates of 3.6 in 2021, 3.3 in 2022, so that's a little drop. 2.9 in 2023, so it dropped a little more. The World Bank projects a growth of 3.7 for 2025.
Let me say this. When it comes to Africa, Nigeria, and any other place, do not count out any country in Africa. Because if it's one thing that country is going to have is the natural resources.
You mean the continent?
Yeah, any country in Africa, right?
Okay, they have the diamonds, they have this, they have
Yeah.
that.
I lost my train of thought. What I was saying is that, look, there is always potential. What dampens the potential, though, is the leadership. Unfortunately, in many, many countries in Africa, especially those under the AOS or whatever, I can't remember the name, but it is a large contingent of African countries, and most of them follow colonialist, trend there. They got their independence from colonizers, and they still hold on to the tail of these colonizers, and their leaders are very, very corrupt. A lot of the money that their country should be making and should be investing in their country, they're squandering, they're putting into banks all over the place, and these Western and European countries are well aware of what they're doing, but they're silent because they acquiesce whenever they want them to. And that is why Abraham Traore is very popular, because he's going against the norm and he's doing things that are positive for his country. But I must say again that we have to be very careful when we pick up news and carry it as it relates to Abraham Traore, because everybody's jumping on the bandwagon.
Everybody's watching it.
Yeah, and everybody's trying to get a piece of him and trying to capitalize and get popularity from just using his name. And that is the sad part.
Got to be mindful. But
Hello,
I see
caller?
Yes. Good morning again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I realized I was cut.
Yeah, sorry about that.
The call dropped out. Yeah, no problem. What I was going to say is that we know that after every rainstorm that there's going to be something wrong. Well, not wrong so much as our roads going to need cleaning up.
Yeah.
Right? There's going to be all kind of debris, all kind of dirt and so on. And as Greg was saying, they keep these heaps of they might clear them, but keep the heap on the side so long instead of carting it away. Okay? And let's just wait for the next, and the whole thing happens again. Right? I don't know how, I don't think we've got our road work down pat as yet. Okay? Right now, for instance, there have been potholes that might have started out pretty small, but after the rains they've become like craters.
Yeah.
And it's been days now, and I haven't seen the stitching in time to come to repair them.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know what procedures they have there at the department. I know that very early o'clock, I think there was a boast that there's a hotline or something that you can call into. I think it was more for either electricity or water. Okay, if there were problems there. But there should be a similar one for roads as well, because unless they drive around, how else would they know about these roads that need fixing?
Yeah.
I would imagine that the constituency rep would at least make sure that those things are care of.
Yes.
Yeah. That's one of the roles of constituency rep. Okay, but I hope there's some kind of hotline or something. I must go on the website and see if there's something that you can call in about the road repairs that need fixing, and the donors shouldn't have to wait for calls either, right? Even on that place where you saw the accident on the Frigate Bay Road there, right? You look at the verges, you're seeing the encroachment of the verge onto the road, and it's been there for months.
Yeah.
And nobody fix it. So obviously, when rain comes, you're going to exacerbate the problem.
Yeah,
okay?
Mr.
So I just hope.
Mr. McMahon, just pause a while. There's another caller has been waiting patiently. Hello, caller.
Yes, brother Quinn. You know, Quinn, your program needs at least 3 hours, because it's never enough. And it is sweet because it always caught my attention. But let me just jump to a point here. You said something just a while ago. What goes on in a country in terms of decision, leadership really, really matters, especially when it comes around public life and wealth and people. Because why really a country will go corrupt? A country, not a person. The leader, because they have not put things in perspective to correct a damning mistake, a damning error. So leadership matters.
Caller,
and if leadership
caller, Mr. McMahon was making a point, and I'm gonna see if I can broaden it, because, like I said, you are an individual who wants to be ahead of the country. Now, Mr. McMahon was speaking to first drainage, and then he was speaking to potholes and so on and so forth. When I hear I'm making a statement. When I hear these things, because my statement is really geared towards you. When I hear these things, I ask myself, as I've asked myself 1,000 times over, why do people want to get these positions of leadership in a country? Don't they understand the responsibility that comes with it? Don't they understand that it's one thing to, when you're in the opposition, to say this should be done and that should be done? In your mind, don't you understand when you get that position, it should be done? What are your plans? This is towards you now. You come and you say leadership is the problem. But when you become the leader, let's say a hypothetical, you become a leader next week, you're going to find yourself in the very same problem. You know why? Because the time you were spending criticizing those in power, you should have been also using it, coming up with plans, so that when you get into the position of power, you have remedies. But that seems to be the problem. You all say leadership is the problem. We need this and we need that. It's easy to say. But while you're saying that, in the back of your mind, you should already have some form of solutions. Because if you have that in the back of your mind, when you get into a position of authority, you will then implement them. You will find people and you will put them in positions, and you will say, look, this is what we are going to do. So and so and so. But that is not the case. And that is why Mr. McMahon is lamenting. And that is why we are lamenting. We need to see leaders who come into positions who have remedies.
But
solutions,
I respect what you said, and I'm not shying away from that. But sometimes, if I will be allowed to continue my perspective, then it would have lead to that because it's not the blaming game, it's the damage control game. It's the damage control due diligence. I agree with what McMahon is saying. And if I may shy away from my point that I was traveling, let me say, Mr. McMahon, let me say, Brother Quinton, to all the listeners. I believe in if you see something, say something. Okay? And I believe not just government in its total entirety to go around and see where damage is. You see, our politicians, our elected leaders, they are not just there to make laws, they are there to represent their constituency. So instead of them think, okay, I will utter my voice, they should have a team to audit and inspect their constituency. They are not the only eyes, and we all should be in things together, in any shape or form. Okay? Whether it's an advisor to the Prime Minister, whether it's an advisor to the constituency representative, moving forward. So, in terms of saying solutions, man, there are so much solutions. But guess what? Probably I didn't announce my solution. I have a manifesto, you know. I have a manifesto.
Look, don't even come with the manifesto thing. Everybody has manifestos. Mr. McMahon, proceed. Continue with.
Yeah. The thing is, these things are what I would call low-hanging fruit. At the very basic, I mean, it affects the ordinary person, who would be driving on the road. Say, at least any self-respecting government should make sure that we have good roads. At least we run good roads, we drive on decent roads and maintain them. Okay, that's a low-hanging fruit. This is not about the bigger ticket items like bringing in investment, promoting growth, and all those things. That's high level, and that's very important as well. But I'm talking about things that are going to make day-to-day life for the ordinary constituent better. Because we that's what we elect a representative for, to solve problems, to make our lives better, right? And if you don't even have time to just drive around your constituency and make sure that things are in order, make sure there's signage, make sure the ordinary little things, like I said, low-hanging fruit, that should not be difficult to implement. If you don't even have time to do that, no, you're failing if you allow your constituency to either deteriorate or not be kept up, be well kept. You're not doing your job.
Yeah.
The basic job.
Yeah.
That is what I think most people would find frustrating.
Yeah.
The little things that they should be paying attention to, instead of all this photo upping and that kind of thing.
But everybody photo ops.
Huh?
Everybody photo op. So when
Yeah, but
everybody
a
talking
photo
about
op, but a photo op does not get the job done.
No, it doesn't.
The-
But
the-
everybody,
the
when I look around,
the potholes are still there.
yeah. So maybe somebody should stop and photo op the pothole and send the picture. How about that?
Recently, I think it was on our sister island of Nevis. Someone took a banana plant, put it in a pothole, and then put it on the internet.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I saw in Antigua where the guy was bathing in the pothole because he didn't have any water, and the pothole have more water than him.
I saw in Barbados.
Oh,
I saw
boy.
in Barbados somebody got spray paint and painted around the pothole.
Oh my gosh!
You know, you can't miss them.
Yeah.
You know, it's simple things like these. It's not always the big ticket items that frustrate people.
Because
it's the simple little things.
Mr. McMahon, even with the bank that we were talking about earlier, the Afromex Bank, the people in Barbados are convinced that it's only going to come there and they're only going to get the maid jobs and the security jobs and all of that. They're not going to get the big jobs when it's based there. I saw an article on that.
Yeah.
Oh, they. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, right through the Caribbean, people are disillusioned with their leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you do when you're disillusioned with your leaders, when they're not performing to expectations?
Vote them out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. Put in somebody else, right? and don't reward non-performance or don't reward failure. You know, this I think we've gone beyond now just electing people for popularity.
Yeah.
So,
right?
I agree.
remember when I spoke about Mia the other day and people wanting her to go back, including her constituents, her party people, and other persons? I think you had said something different to the fact where basically she shouldn't go back. But what if the
Well,
people
if she-
think she's doing a good job? Because look, Mr. Gonzalez is going for his 6th term. I don't know what's happening over there, but it's obviously that whatever he tells the people, they
it
buy
depends
it.
on
and-
what it depends on what you regard as a good job. If you want to tell me that well, she's exceptional, fine, right? But what I was saying is that it takes a lot to convince me that a lot of these politicians around here now are exceptional.
Okay.
Right? They're not like leaders of the past, right? The kind of tone and so on that they set is not okay. I think we might have spoken, or at least Quint and I, about during Bratcher time, for instance, and the tone that he set with the no nonsense business like tone that he set in government. Okay, some people called it autocratic, but you knew that it was a no-nonsense type of approach.
But you see,
don't get
you,
that now.
you see, Mr.
You
McMahon.
you get pandering and
You see,
bribing
Mr.
and those kind
McMahon.
of things.
Mr. McMahon. People have got to be very careful as to what we need. Someone might say it is autocratic, but what I have garnered, what I have learned over time is that if you're in a particular position of leadership, there is some level of force in getting what you want done that you have to put into place if you're going to be successful. You cannot be a leader and pamper those who surround you, and that is
you've
what
got to, yes, you got to set the tone.
Yes, and
right?
that is what
Just
is
sometimes,
lacking.
sometimes you have to just tell whether it's the peers or whoever below in the chain, get it done or else.
Yeah. For instance,
Right?
I'm going to use an example. I think that when Denzel Douglas was in, he bumped into something, but I believe that he misused it. He had a way that he would change the portfolio of some of his ministers. I believe he misused it because I believe if you have a leader who does that appropriately in the right way, you can get results. For instance, if you have a particular individual with a portfolio and they are not living up to it, then you change them and you see if they perform better in another portfolio. But those who are functioning well in their portfolio, leave them there. I think that is a mistake Denzel Douglas made because he just seemed to be just shifting them around because this is my opinion, because he just wanted them to get the message clear that he was the leader. But if he had done that the way it should have been done, that could bring results.
Well, the thing is, there's two sides to that. Yes, it could be that it's a show of strength, that you can shift around people and so on. It also avoids complacency in a particular ministry. Yes, but it can also be looked at as grading your ministers. Sometimes a minister is performing effectively in a particular ministry. You may want to put them, even though they're good in that ministry, you may want to use them in another ministry that is failing. Okay?
But that is where I disagree. That is where I feel if they're functioning in the portfolio that they have, leave them.
No, but no. But you're assuming there that the particular portfolio, the success of that ministry is due to the minister alone, and that is not usually true. Usually, the the ministry's success is due to whatever systems, procedures, personnel, and so on that is in that ministry. It's not no one person.
I agree. And for instance, your what they call them,
the PS?
PSs and so on and so forth. But that is not the point I'm getting at. The point I'm getting at is that if you're a leader, you see, this is my premise of real leadership. If you're a leader and you observe and you see that this particular, because again, whereas you're right, Mr. McMahon, there's another faction to it. If a particular portfolio will function appropriately because whoever you put at the helm is mature enough and respected by the subordinates that they when he give a directive, it is carried out. If that individual is not respected, you could have had that portfolio under another system. Let's say the prior government that was in, it was functioning good, and now it deteriorates. So I'm not speaking to that. I'm speaking to the fact that you see something functioning, you want leaders who are mature enough to give an assessment and say, well, okay, that is functioning, let me leave them there. But where you are failing, move them. That is what I'm speaking about.
But
then we're speaking to maturity. Eh? Don't forget, maturity must be a key factor in there, because with that maturity, you're not going to do things for spite. You're going to do things because you have a projected vision of sustainability over time.
And in our situation, you cannot be somebody who is not hands-on.
Yes.
Right? You have to be hands-on. You can't leave people to their own devices. Otherwise, you're opening yourself for failure.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to set a tone.
Yes.
Okay. And a no-nonsense tone that enables things to get done.
Yeah.
You know. And like I was saying too, right? There are particular ministries, for instance, because of the leadership structure in them, it's not easy to fail. I'm thinking, for instance, like a Ministry of Education, because you have so many, apart from PSs and education officers, you also have leadership in the schools and colleges and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it's almost like the system can run itself.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to operate at a higher level and decide on what's best, like what education policies are best for our country at this time, etc., etc. Whether we can concentrate on particular training, etc., etc. Those kinds of high level stuff.
Yeah.
But so it's very difficult to fail, I think, in a ministry like that. I mean, if a Ministry of Education is failing, if there are lots of complaints about the schools and so on, the infrastructure and so on, then that minister should go.
Yeah, I agree.
That's yeah. And there's a political dimension of it too.
Yeah.
The kind of reshuffling that we're talking about here is only possible when you have a strong government. If you just have a government that can fall if just one man switches the support, then you have to be extra careful what you do.
That is a good point.
You know? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay then.
Okay, we'll take a bit of a commercial break and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Get ready to stretch your way into the ultimate festival experience. The Sickest Music Festival is calling, and so are some serious prizes. Spend $25 or more on any scratch tickets to win a season pass and a night stay at Park Hyatt, a season pass and a night stay at St. Kitts Marriott Resort, and a season pass and a White Sands ticket. That's right. Spend $25 or more on any scratch tickets to win. Available at all Caribbean lottery retailers island-wide. You must be 21 and over to play.
This April, TDC Home and Building Depot is turning green. Get 20% off energy-efficient and eco-friendly products from April 7th to 30th. Plus, during Earth Week, April 16th to 22nd, win energy-saving bulbs and reusable shopping bags. Join us for product demos and expert consultations. Make the switch. We're going reusable. Go green with TDC Home and Building Depot. Hurry in or visit us online today at shoptdcgroup.com. TDC. Together we succeed.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of
Get ready for the biggest Father's Day weekend sale ever. From June 12th to 14th, Hosses Furniture and Appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Hosses Building and Nevis Centers, and Builders Paradise are bringing you incredible savings and a special men's health and wellness fair. Take 25% off at Hosses Furniture and Appliances, plus double cash back for free groceries with every higher purchase. It's the perfect time to upgrade your home and fill your pantry. And that's not all. Get 25% off store-wide at Hosses Building and Nevis Centers and Builders Paradise on all discountable items. On Saturday, June 14th, don't miss our men's health and wellness fair at Hosses Building and Nevis Centers from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Get free diabetes, HIV, blood pressure checks, plus customer giveaways and so much more. Celebrate that this Father's Day weekend only at Hosses Furniture and Appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Hosses Building and Nevis Centers, and Builders Paradise. Terms and conditions apply.
Save your quarters and save your dollars. You could just protect.
Parents and guardians, it's time to secure your child's success. Enroll them in Aspire and unlock amazing benefits. $500 in cash savings, $500 in investment shares, and life-changing financial education to teach budgeting, saving, and investing. Don't wait. Sign up your child or ward for Aspire today and give them the tools to achieve greatness. Visit aspire.gov.kn for more information.
Father's Day weekend at Builders Paradise. We've got big deals for dad and low prices for all. Yes, we've got a massive 25% off store-wide on all discountable items. Yes, 25% off Builders Paradise, already low everyday prices. From power tools to paint, lumber to lighting and more. It's all at Builders Paradise. And it's all on sale. Show dad some love for the gear he wants at everyday low prices you love. But don't wait. The sale runs for 3 days only. Thursday, June 12th, Friday, June 13th, and Saturday, June 14th. Father's Day weekend only at Builders Paradise, where big deals for dad and everyday low prices for all come together. Happy Father's Day from Builders Paradise.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we're back on Island Tea, and I was just showing Quint a little thing here that I see on YouTube, and it says hundreds of people took to the streets of Ghana's capital, Accra, on Sunday in support of The allegiance of the Sahel states, AES, and Captain Ibrahim Traore's leadership in Burkina Faso, I got to say Fato, Faso. Footage shows protesters marching and chanting while holding banners and signs such as "Imperialism must fall" and "Africa must rise."
Now, the Sahel states, I'm glad you reference that, because we always keep saying Ibrahim Traore, and we keep forgetting, as I as I keep trying to remind individuals, that Ibrahim Traore is not alone. The Sahel states are three countries that were overthrown by young soldiers, and these young soldiers are implementing things that are moving their country forward. Now, Ibrahim Traore seems to be the most dynamic in terms of, as an individual, what he's doing, but the others are also doing, and they are also dynamic, and they are making strides. One of the main things that they did is when they realized their vulnerability, they united. They decided, look, we're going to make sure that if whatever happens to one, we will defend. If you try to come and invade one, the others will come and, and they're moving forward in terms of what they're trying to do in terms of housing, development, banking. They're, and I think in Niger, they recently chased out a lot of the Chinese businessmen because they told them that they wanted to see better salaries for the workers, and the businessmen are just looking at their markups, and they gave them a period, and the businessmen felt like, well, you can't do anything. We're here. We're the business. We're making the money. You depend on us, and they kicked them out. After they kicked them out, they went through a bit of a downturn, which is expected, and again, it shows you how people say they support you, and they don't really support you, because after they kicked out the Chinese and they went through a bit of a downturn, I saw people were saying, oh, you kick out the Chinese and then you're gonna want them back and blah blah blah. Eventually they did get some other Chinese investors to come back and do some business, but these investors now had a message in their head that, look, it's not going to be business as usual. You understand? We're going to make money, but we're going to make sure this money is dispersed across the country. So I made that point because we must understand that these are three countries.
So it's Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali.
Yeah,
Okay,
Niger, Burkina Faso, and
they
Mali.
have a whole lot of hosts, well, 6 others, which is Nigeria, Chad, Senegal, Mauritania, Sudan, and Eritrea.
Yeah, and what are they under? I think there's
Sahel states.
They're
I'm actually surprised, but the 3. That's why I asked about those 3 to make sure those
well,
are the ones that joined up.
Only if over time others are joining, which would be good. But apart from the Sahel state, I know the big conglomerate in Africa is AOS or some. Look up that and see, because there's a big faction that is aligned with Europe and the Americas that are trying to get the Sahel states to abdicate the trend they're on and come back to them, but that is not going to happen with these young folks. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island Sea.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing today? Yeah, good morning, man. How you guys doing?
Caller, you're gonna have to call back because you stayed so long. I pressed my finger on the button, and I'm not gonna keep my finger. If I take my finger off, you're gonna drop. So call back.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, so the allegiance, the AOS is the allegiance of the Sahel states, or allegiance of Sahel countries, refers to a political grouping of countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, which formed in June 2024. The allegiance was established following the overthrow of democratically elected leaders in these 3 countries.
So it's not the AOS then. It's I'm hello caller.
Yes, good morning, man. Good morning to you guys, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, great discussion like usual.
Thank you.
Big up to Abraham Traore. Because of the fact that in our black countries, Africa and the Caribbean, we are yearning for good leadership. Abraham Traore has undoubtedly become an inspiration to all. The fact that he took the lead role, yes, there is 3 countries that form a federation, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. But undoubtedly, he is the one that leads the charge. And because of that, he has gained the most popularity. He has become the most popular. And with that said, me personally, you know, I'm happy that he is moving the way he is. And he's like not only a hero to everybody else, but to myself. The thing is, he is already successful. You know why? He broke the status quo. And he has gained recognition and respect of a lot of world leaders as well, especially President Putin over there in Russia. He is trying to set the tone for the rest of Africa, just like Gaddafi did. Okay, let me move away from that. Thanks to the people of Ghana for standing up and protesting, like how citizens of any country should exercise their democratic right. What you said, Quint, there was marching in solidarity with Traore?
Hortensia is more fair with that. Let her, Hortensia.
I'm trying to find what it says. It says, yeah, thousands of youths march in Accra, Ghana, supporting
Just about romantic relationships.
AES and
It applies to
Burkina Faso.
friendships, work, and
Yeah.
all areas of your life.
Yeah, that's commendable. The fact that they can organize themselves and go in the street. We in St. Kitts and Nevis need to exercise such courage as well, whether it's for or against an issue, a national issue especially. Hussein Bolt, you know, he should use his fame and his fortune, his popularity as well, to rally the people over there in Jamaica to stand up against those white-collar criminals over there who seemingly is moving with people's money when they invest. Especially, I'm going to commend Bolt as well, because he was one of the athletes that decided to stay locally in Jamaica and invest in his own country. And they're playing him out. He should not allow them to play him out like that. He needs to stand up and represent the other persons who have been defrauded. And I noticed that they have named him a global ambassador. If I was Bolt, I would never take that post. I will never represent Jamaica like that. We need to really show these persons in authority. We need to make statements to them. Like Quincy said before, these persons in authority, they're acting like a bit like the lad on a fight to them.
Caller.
We saw.
Caller, I disagree with you on that. Here's my premise. I believe that he should take a post like that, but having taken the post, still make his stance for the reimbursement of his monies. Now, when you have a post like that, apart from the fact that you're a renowned world athlete, it also carries weight, and it puts pressure on the very system you're a part of. But then again, that is where a lot of people don't want to go down that road. They feel that if, for instance, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts Nevis gives me the position of ambassador, that whatever the Prime Minister does, I should sanction it, and if I have a gripe, I shouldn't express it. But that is why I would never get in politics, because if I have a gripe, I'm going to express it. And then let me see if you have the guts. You have the guts, and you retract my position as ambassador, and you let the world see that you're thin-skinned, that that you don't deal with issues when you should deal with them. Yeah, there will be those who say, well, he shouldn't have done that. He's the ambassador, But so you want to tell me you're the ambassador, but you invest your money in an entity and it gets ripped off, and you're supposed to not say anything about it because you're the ambassador?
Okay, Quinn, you know what, man? I like the way how you rebut, man. You know, sometimes I will yield a little bit to you, but I'm going to tell you right now, the way how you rebutted there is very good. And I'm going to roll back slightly. In terms of me rejecting to take that position, it would be out of me being angry and possibly maybe want to boycott and show that I'm disappointed. But in the same breath, like you said now, maybe he can take the position and what do you call that, like promote, like try to use the position to, you know,
to the benefit of the people.
Yeah. That's it. I like activate, like be an activist or whatever, like that.
Yeah.
Use the position to his advantage. So that was a great comeback there. Now I will maybe, you know, I'll roll back and agree with you partially. You know, but we see in the world right now, you know, evil is reigning, man, over good. You know, the poor people is the ones that always going to take the hit. You know, in the Federation, we see how a lot of that money disappeared from the CBI. People are like not satisfied with what went down with some of that situation. And, you know, they're passing a lot of bills. A lot of the bills, enforcement bills that they're passing in Parliament is geared towards the common working class, the common man. But who is going to regulate and hold the white-collar criminals accountable? And there was a bill that pushed to Parliament recently, the extradition bill, and we haven't heard any much dialogue about that bill. And, you know, who's that bill?
You ever notice how...
Is that bill going to be extraditing common people or the persons who are up in authority? And that's my contribution for now, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for your contribution.
Quinn, that thing you asked me to look for, I'm not seeing anything on it.
I was trying to find one of these days, maybe when I finish today,
you can look.
Yeah, because I have loads of them stockpiled,
somewhere.
So that I can, you know, refer to them, but it's evading me right now. But they're, yeah. So let's get back to where we were. We have a caller. Hello, caller.
Good, yes, Quinn.
Yes.
And Atense, it's me again.
Hey, Greg.
No.
Greg, before you go on, did you call them directly? Because it seems like on the radio they're not hearing you. I don't know how, but did you contact them directly to come and sort out the area you're talking about?
No, I did not contact them. I did not contact them directly, but very interestingly, not too long after I spoke to you, the person who is responsible for keeping the drain clean, I saw the person shoveling out some dirt from out of one of the side drain that lead into the main drain that takes everything down to the Beshore.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is what I'm complaining. What somebody else said that I complain about. He throwing the dirt in a barrel, okay?
Yeah.
But he got to throw that dirt either in somebody's land, which they used to do to me, and I stop it. He got to go throw the dirt in somebody's land or pile up the dirt by the water tank.
Yeah.
None of which is healthy and good.
Yeah.
The departments who are responsible should have a truck or whatever. So that he throw the dirt, the mud, it's really mud, in the truck, and they take it to a proper place to empty, dump. Yes. Okay, that is for that issue. Hello?
We're listening.
Yeah, that is for that issue.
Now,
yes.
Before you go on, recently I was in a business place, right, and a customer turned to me, one of the other individuals turned to me, and he said, "I recognize you." And then he said he's a big fan of the show, and he listens, and a lot of time he wants to call in, but people like Greg are always, he says, hogging the show. So I said to him, no, I'm the one on the board, you know. I see when individuals, for instance, right now, the only light that is showing is Greg. And I said, we need a variety of individuals and perspectives and so forth. So why don't you call in and so forth and so forth? And he says, yeah, that's it. You know, so I say that to say there are individuals who tend to say that, oh, a certain individual, they repeat and they come back with the same topic and so forth. But when given a chance to call in, they don't. So go ahead, Greg.
Yes. Okay, Quinn. Good for it, because I have observed that. Now, one thing, what I'm about to say that, I have said in the past that I'm in total disagreement to the CBI. But, and I have said, since the Douglas regime, by the grace of God, God have me to call in, even during the Douglas regime when I was working for government, and by the grace of God, I hear my voice still over the ear. Okay? Now, even though I am against the CBI program, for the amount of money, isn't it over $1 billion or something like that? We were told that the CBI have gotten over the years.
I don't remember. No. I don't remember the figure, so I'm not going to venture to make a statement on that.
I think it's over $1 billion. I have heard. The CBI have pulling over the years since its inception.
Greg, hold a while. Hello, caller.
Quinn, you see Elon resign. You see he stepped down.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up, but I was waiting for the opportune time.
And you see how much criminal our president has pardoned. You see the list?
Yep.
Go look at the list. I won't be surprised if he ain't pardoned himself. Guys, I'm listening.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Yes. So what I would like to say quickly is that the CBI has brought in all these money, and I know the CBI has funded something. CBI has funded something. But irrespective of the CBI funding something, for the sake of me, I cannot see where all that ton load of money that the CBI has brought in. I can't see the proportional result in the Federation. Because we're supposed to get far a lot more things in the Federation if the CBI has raked in so much money as I have heard. So, I think there's a very big scandal with the CBI thing that is waiting to be unearthed. And you're going to take some very, very courageous journalists to unearth it, because I can't see where all that money has gone in developing the country. Like I said, even though I'm against it, even though, yes, I understand it has funded something, but the amount of money that thing is said to have raked in, I ain't really seen it in the Federation. Okay, and I want who resigned?
Elon Musk is leaving.
Oh. Okay then. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a world. I just saw that and I said I'll bring it up. He's making his exit. I guess he's tired of, he's probably losing.
Okay, I found what I was looking for. ECOWAS. Look up ECOWAS. And that is the big faction of African states that are aligned mainly with Europe and the colonializers and neo-colonialists, and they are against the Sahel state, right? They even have I even see a caption here that says ECOWAS versus Sahel junta, right? So have you found it?
The Economic Community of West African States.
Yeah.
But Niger's still in there, Burkina Faso is still in there. Yeah, they're still in there.
When you say in there,
it has country, Economic Community of West African States. It has Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Liberia, Benin.
Maybe they want them to be in there, but they're not in there. Because what the leaders of ECOWAS have been saying is that the leaders of the Sahel states should give up their military rule and have elections and come back to the embrace of, the fold. That is what they're touting. So if you see these three countries from the Sahel states in there, it is not really.
Yeah, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, look at that. What are the 16 countries of ECOWAS? They're all in there even. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that is because you're not really affair with it. So when you see that, because you're not affair with it, you follow it. But us who are affair with the system know that that is not the case.
That's not the case.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying is what they present. I don't know.
Yeah, that is what they want to present. That is part of their propaganda, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I guess Elon Musk lost enough, and he's not in the
I
mood
don't
to
even
lose anymore.
entertain any thought.
Yeah, and I was
Elon
looking at the persons that he pardoned. I see he pardoned TV reality couple convicted of bank fraud and tax crimes, and
Yeah.
a couple other a gang leader.
And guess how he came to pardon them? He didn't even know them.
You think? I think
He didn't know.
I think they're well known.
BBC, he did not know them. The BBC published a thing where their daughter apparently became an advocate for them, and he heard the daughter because she touted, as long as you praise Trump and so forth. So when Trump heard her, Trump contacted her and they had a conversation, and you hear her and Trump promised her that he's going to release her family.
Wow.
And then he released them. He even in his statement he said, I don't know them, but I'm going to make sure that I make sure that they are pardoned. He speaks. So the man is just in a league by himself, right?
Listen, I cannot, yes. I cannot. He's going to do what he wants, and as you said, just before he leaves, he might pardon himself because he might figure somebody's going to come after him.
Let me see if I can play this short little bit of a clip here, okay?
African leaders met in Nigeria's capital Abuja for the ECOWAS summit. ECOWAS is West Africa's main political and economic group, comprises of 15 members, but 3 nations have announced that they are no longer a part of the group. They are Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. The member states approved the official withdrawal date as the 29th of January, but in some last-ditch efforts, they extended the timeline to the 29th of July. The bloc hopes to use the 6-month transition period to convince the countries to return. These nations have ditched the West and have turned to Russia for security and aid. West African leaders met.
You heard it?
Yeah, so they're...
Yeah, so whenever you see a publication that still includes them,
they're not
it
part
is
of
not
it.
official.
Mm.
But then you wouldn't know that because you haven't been really following, but I would know that. Yes. So I thought I'd play that because fortunately I bumped into it and it gave you the information, right? Let me
In Nigeria's capital Abuja.
It's very short, so I'm going to play it again in its entirety as we are about to close off.
West African leaders met in Nigeria's capital Abuja for the ECOWAS summit. ECOWAS is West Africa's main political and economic group, comprises of 15 members, but 3 nations have announced that they are no longer a part of the group. They are Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. The member states approved the official withdrawal date as the 29th of January, but in some last-ditch efforts, they extended the timeline to the 29th of July. The bloc hopes to use the 6-month transition period to convince the countries to return. These nations have ditched the West and have turned to Russia for security and aid. West Africa.
Yeah, so there it is. Ever since these 3 nations broke away, ECOWAS has been trying to get them back, but it has been to no avail, and as you heard, that was way back in January. You see where we are now.
Well, it's almost July.
Yeah, and during that interim, those who are still a part of ECOWAS have been getting more and more backlash from their citizens because their citizens are saying that they are too corrupt and they need to some extent, follow some of the leads from these countries in the Sahel Alliance. Now, did you hear about the attempted assassination of Putin by
Trump has found a new enemy.
Sorry, by what's
West
that?
African leaders met in Nigeria's capital
Whenever
Abuja
people
for the
bring up-
ECOWAS summit. ECOWAS is where
Yeah, sorry about that. That's something being played back there. I was trying to get. Yeah, we're 4 minutes over time, but I want to see if I can find back that bit of information.
And we gotta pray for the folks in this. I see a piece of glacier and dust and ice. It dislodged and it buried a village that it was close to.
Hello, caller.
Hi, good morning.
Yes.
Just a quick comment on the West African situation.
Yes,
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, the West African situation. Nigeria is a part of ECOWAS, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And we, and I use the word we, our federation is forging a relationship with Nigeria at the moment, isn't that so?
Yes.
So isn't that interesting?
Very interesting.
Because it seems as if I wouldn't say the masses, but a significant number of persons in the populations of the Caribbean are siding with these three West African states, while some of us in the Caribbean, including St. Kitts, Barbados, and others, are forging relationships with Nigeria. That's all. Just an observation.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
good observation, as a matter of fact.
I see something about a drone strike. Putin's helicopter was at the epicenter of Ukraine's drone strike. It says the Russian officer said a drone was detected approaching the flight path of Putin's helicopter and was immediately neutralized by Russian air defense forces.
Yeah, I was looking for the name of, Ukraine. Now, you see, the reason I wanted to get this is because you notice how silent the rest of the world is. When you remember the last time when you was talking about the attack of Putin on Ukraine and so many individuals died, and I told you that Ukraine had also made an attack?
Yeah.
No. No one told us that America, Trump had given and NATO had given Ukraine the go ahead that they could just we're going to have to make a breakaway because there's something that is on right now.
Okay.
It's to do with the PM. So we're going to have to make a breakaway so that we can get that,
All
if
right.
anything. Yeah, so with the premier, that is, of Nevis. So we're going to break away so that we can get that. That completely slipped me.
Okay, no
Yeah.
problems.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Let's stop child sexual abuse. The age of consent is 16, yet our 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10-year-olds are becoming victims of sexual abuse and exploitation, which is being forced into sexual activity before they are old enough to decide. This causes mental, emotional, and physical harm to our children. Parents, it is your responsibility to protect and to educate your children. Develop a relationship of trust with your child. If they trust you, they will tell you. Child sexual abuse cannot be our norm. We must work together to correct this. Help us prevent, help us protect, help us prosecute. A message by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Carpets and tiles. It's the company where you can get it all. All at TDC, home and building depot. From lawn and garden, the TVs and stereos. All at TDC.